This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Final hour. Nordo in for PA. It's a Friday feast. And joining us now, didn't work out yesterday just based on scheduling, but of course, weekly guest from a fantasy pickup joint perspective, Paul Charchian at Paul Charchian via X in his nuclear safe bunker in Utah, the side of some mountain or special monument, etc. Paul Charchian joins now. How you doing, Charch?
The pickup joint, that's going back a ways. Nice memory on that. Well done.
No, I love the pickup joint. It was cool, a little bar ambiance to the whole thing, a little innuendo in the mix. Yeah. It's always fun, man. You know, it was fun last night, and it's tough to find parallels, but it was fun last night watching that Rams-Niners game and seeing a squad that is just a mash unit. There are three top pass catching options out of the mix. And you have a quarterback situation that is somewhat murky. Purdy, can he stay on the field? When he's been on the field, he hasn't been great, but Mac Jones rolls in there. He's got a bum knee, and they still find a way on the road. It took overtime, and it took McVay taking a big swing there on the fourth down at the end. But seeing a team overcome injury via scheme, toughness, and coaching, that was pretty cool last night, not to mention whether it's Kendrick Bourne or it's Christian McCaffrey. There was definitely some feasting from a fantasy perspective there, too.
Yes, there was. And heartening for Viking fans that are fretting over this offensive line that a team can be completely depleted at one position and still have backup step up and play well. And that's what we saw in last with the wide receiver situation, missing George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, Ricky Pearsall, Juwan Jennings. And here's fifth, sixth, seventh string guys that were making plays all night. And Mac Jones was downright gallant. I gotta wonder if you are a Niners fan or you're somebody in the front office, if you're having some second doubts about that $250 million that you gave to Brock Purdy, who's playing really at about the same level that Mac Jones is playing right now.
Well, I just wonder too. I didn't get a chance. It just didn't come up with Greenway. But it's one of those things like Mac Jones, probably never an All-Pro, probably never Hall of Fame, et cetera, down that line, right? I mean, whether, what's your level of greatness or the trajectory of a Mac Jones. But every time he got hit last night, one of his O-linemen that was probably partially responsible for it, like McKivitz and company, they turn around and they're like, is Mac dead? Like the way they were looked, like, how does he keep getting back up, limping his way into the huddle to the next play? Went down, I think, at least once. I remember they were in the red zone. He got sacked maybe on a third down or hit on a third down. And then there may have been one other time. If they had it, let's say OT's not the mix, not an issue, time's not an issue. He has to go back out there after what I saw. I think he like ruptured a kidney. Like that's crazy. And I just wonder how what that does to an entire team. Like, yeah, we know Mac Jones isn't Josh Allen, but like this guy is giving almost literally it all on the field. It was impressive to see Mac last night.
It was. And I don't think anybody could disagree with that. He looked great. And when your quarterback is battling like that and he's giving body parts on the field, I think that rallies everybody to play their best. And it was a gutsy performance. Sometimes announcers will go overboard on that stuff and try to create, I don't know, drama where there isn't drama and praise where it's not deserved. Boy, it was there. It was a great game for Mac, probably the best game of Mac Jones' career. And even if the Rams had picked up that last 4th and 1 and they had gone on to win the game, I still like to think that we'd be talking about Mac Jones right now and his incredible performance. I mean, Sean McVay, he blew it on that last play call. That's Matthew Stafford was on fire. The easiest way I think that team can pick up. It's easy to say it now that it failed, but the easiest way to pick up that 1.5 yards, I think, would have been to spread your wideouts 4 wide and make defense figure out who they're going to cover. And go hit Puka Nacua if you need to. It was an odd play call when the Niners pass defense was reeling at the end.
What, fantasy, I'm just kind of going to sprinkle it in as we go here, but it just kind of has me thinking, like my favorite team, the offensive line. I'm still trying to get to know who some of these guys are. It's just been tough. And you see that and you know that. But from a fantasy perspective, it's kind of been that way too, where, Puka Nacua probably would go number one in drafts for the most part now. Justin Jefferson, people still hoping that they, technically not buying low, 6 or 7, a first round pick, and you're waiting to see how this QB thing shakes out. But the injuries, like I see McLaurin, I don't think he's even making the trip this weekend. Like some big timers across the board are hurt. And then you have guys like AJ Brown, who you bought high on, and their quarterback never throws it to him. So it's just, how weird has it been this fantasy season, really grinding in and trying to find the Kendrick Bournes of the world?
Yeah, we spend so much time talking about how wide receivers are typically the safest positions.
Yeah.
This year's been tricky. There's been a lot of dud wide receivers out there, and maybe none bigger than AJ Brown, who you just referenced. Get this. He's had one good game. His other 3 games, he's been fantasy receiver 70, fantasy receiver 97, and fantasy receiver 100. He's languishing because the Eagles just don't pass. They're throwing the fewest passes in the league, which is not that uncommon for them. But usually AJ Brown gets fed anyway. Only 51% of his passes, Nordo, have been deemed catchable by PFF. So he's getting some targets, but then they're not high quality targets, and he's not able to make a catch. He's frustrated. There's whispers that there's a fractured personality rift between Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown, and you hope that's not the case. And to make everything worse, here comes Denver. They lead the NFL in pass pressure, and on the back end, they've got Patrick Surtain and Riley Moss. It's a brutal matchup, a very tricky spot for AJ Brown to get right this weekend.
Would it be, if you were to pick one guy, like the human guillotine, who is just, if you're within 10 feet of him, you're getting your head chopped off. Is it AJ Brown at this point? Has there been anybody that maybe is more underwhelming?
There's one other guy.
Oh.
Yeah. Other guy that's close. AJ Brown has appeared in the top 10 most chopped player list in guillotine leagues 3 of 4 weeks. And so has one other player, Derrick Henry.
Oh, all those fumbles,
Derrick
right?
Henry.
Yeah.
The fumble, well, you're getting -2 on the fumbles, but that isn't even the whole story, really. I don't think. A lot of it with Derrick Henry also is he's just not running very well right now. Derrick Henry, I don't know if you saw this tweet. Derrick Henry, you want to guess how many broken tackles he's got through 4 games? Derrick Henry?
Through 4 games, I'll say like 7 or 8.
He has 4. There are 76 NFL players with more broken tackles than Derrick Henry has accumulated in 4 full games. I'm not saying it's a career for Derrick Henry, because I don't want to be that guy. But the way he has looked so far has been tentative. Teams are punching the ball out. He's only running for a little over 3 yards per carry. It's right now, this Ravens team that's got a million injuries. It's all bad for Derrick Henry at the moment.
So do you potentially buy back in on him because of the Lamar situation, though? Does that give you, I don't know he hasn't been a guy that's fumbled or been non-productive for long stretches, mostly his entire career. And things are weird with the Ravens, as you mentioned. But, do you potentially buy back in? Like if we got some bulky, hammy situations with Lamar, then maybe that lends to leaning on King Henry.
Yeah, I just think taking Lamar off the field doesn't help anybody. Cooper Rush is not a plus for anybody in that offense, and that includes Derrick Henry because now your defense can really play to stop Henry, make Cooper Rush beat you throwing to Rashad Bateman, and that is that's a chance most teams are going to take. So I don't think that's going to help here. And I think if you drafted Derrick Henry, you probably have to take your lumps because his value is a little low right now, but. you might want to see what it would cost to get out of that if you want to. The other part that's hurt Henry a bit, the Ravens are just losing every game. Yeah. And so end of game, they're going to Justice Hill in the fourth quarter because they've fallen behind so much. They need their pass catching back in, and that's Justice Hill.
What mixing fantasy with reality, whether it's Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison gets his reps back last week. Jordan Mason not as efficient against the Steelers as he was against the Bengals. Now this Browns team comes rolling in. So whether it's fantasy, whether it's reality, what do we got ahead of us on Sunday morning, man? This looks daunting.
First team to 2 wins.
Well, that's what I was joking about 2 years ago. You remember that Vegas game, man, the 3-0 thriller.
I do.
In the 702. And this has the vibe, sadly, injuries and everything included, to be one of those types of games. I really hope it isn't. And I'm trying to change my face on it. It's just, this one's going to be a grinder, man.
It is going to be a grinder, big time. I'm nervous about the center position, especially.
Yeah.
Allow me to take you back, Nordo, to Week 17, 2022 against Green Bay. Do you happen to remember that game?
Week 17. Okay, so it's at Lambeau, and
yep.
Let me see. I don't remember the particulars of that game.
All right. Unfortunately, I do. Vikings are on their backup center, Austin Schlottman. You'll remember him.
Oh, yes.
Schlottman,
yes.
How to pronounce his name?
It was, Schlottman? I believe it was a Schlottman, yes.
Yeah, a Schlottman. Austin Schlottman, already the backup. It's right at the beginning of the game. He gets hurt. Now we're on third string guy who's never played center, Chris Reed. And we end up having 3 fumbled snaps between him and Kirk Cousins, and it's never a game. The Vikings offense can never get anything going because they can barely execute a snap. Final score was 41-17, and most of the Vikings' 17 points came in garbage time at the very end of the fourth quarter. So I'm a little bit nervous now. No Ryan Kelly, your backup center's out, and now we're going to be starting somebody, TBD, probably Blake Brandel, who has never started a game at center, correct?
Correct, yes.
Yes. That to me is a significant level. That is a bowel loosening level of existential dread there, Nora. What do you think?
Well, you just hit me because earlier in the show I brought it up with Greenway in particular because that was his finals year 2016 where Teddy goes down, Bradford comes in, you start 5-0, and the O-line injuries from Khalil. We brought in Jake Long. He tears his Achilles at FedEx. We had Joe Berger and Zach Curran, Rashad Hill. I mean, the list of O-linemen was just, it was a mile long. But now I'm remembering in that Packers game, though, that was the game where Darnell Savage had the pick 6 and Brian O'Neill tore his Achilles at Lambeau trying to run back to catch Darnell Savage. And now you got me. My head is completely spinning with the O-line L's with an extra L in it. Yes, it gives me pause. And Joe Huber himself, I think he started like 20-ish games over his final 2 years in college at guard. Huber in the mix, School. People are still trying to sell me that Justin School looked better on the right side in the second half against the Packers after O'Neill went down again than he did on the left side the first 2 games. And yeah, this defensive front, but I'm just curious, does it help at all that, as something we brought up a few times this week, the idea that instead of losing Kelly and O'Neill midstream, it's somewhat of a silver lining, if you can find one, the idea that you've gotten a ton of reps this week with this particular group, and really now it's on KO to find a way to make that work, whether it's handcuffing an Oliver or a Hockenson to a tackle, whichever side Myles Garrett's on. And really just trying to find some hope and a prayer efficiency in the run game. Like, again, the fear and the trepidation is there, but you're just kind of hoping, again, trying to be Pollyanna on it, just the idea that working with the same group all week might lend to some execution on Sunday. It's scary, though, man. It's an awful situation health-wise.
So did you share any of my second guessing that Kwesi did not make a move for Cam Robinson? All it cost was flipping a 6th rounder into a 7th rounder to get Cam Robinson. And not that Cam Robinson is very good, because he is just a guy at tackle, but that could have been a depth move for somebody who already knows your offense and would have cost, us a 6th to a 7th, or maybe would have to gone a 5th to a 6th. But I mean, the price was so low, and you could have had utility tackle that could have helped you in a time like this. And I when I saw the trade go down, I was like, man, couldn't we have done that? What do you think? Was that a missed opportunity?
It potentially is. I've just been, I mean, the way that this thing was talked about. So you invest the cash you do into Ryan Kelly, and sadly with the concussions and such, I mean, he might have bigger issues to worry about long-term than short-term health. Will Fries returning from injury a year, he was out, I think maybe hurt week 5, missed the rest of the season. You spend a ton of cash on him to come in. And I was kind of sold a little bit higher, maybe, I feel like, on Justin School and what he might look like as that depth move that you're talking about. Now, Cam Robinson was available because Cam Robinson has been nothing short of dreadful. And therefore, we might even see him this weekend against the Browns, although that's still kind of up in the air. They have their own O-line issues to worry about. So maybe we see Cam, maybe we don't. Not necessarily mad about it per se, but now in hindsight, from my standpoint, personally, yes, it was not something that I like, man, maybe we go and get a Cam Robinson, as much as we've really in some ways been underwhelmed by the guys that we invested a ton in this offseason. And we're kind of bearing out the fruit of, okay, so measured spending spree by the general manager. We're getting a bunch of guys maybe at a value, right? Jonathan Allen coming off of injury, Javon Hargrave coming off injury. We talked about, Ryan Kelly and Fries, both injury laden a year ago, and you get a little value on them. But the optimism is that they'll bounce back. They're veterans. They'll stay healthy. And now we're kind of eating that a little bit, and it's an awful situation. And you'd hope that there's a plan in terms of maybe adding a body to the mix. And, or at least is it just getting into the bye week alive and praying that one of these guys comes up healthy and that Fries figures it out? And they have more money than they have in the last couple of years as well from a flexibility standpoint. And so that's definitely not an issue. It's an awful situation for the GM right now to figure out, probably an unexpected position. They didn't see themselves watching everybody fall like dominoes like this. But yeah, the time to act is now. And yeah, maybe in hindsight, I guess, yeah, Cam Robinson coming back, knowing the offense and it feels like on the surface, I think he, man v man, probably maybe a better option than Justin School. I don't know what his experience is on the right side of the line, but all the same. Well,
I just looked. Cam Robinson's basically never played the right side, so I think that's significant, and that's something I should have factored in before I started blabbing. That he would not necessarily he'd be playing his first snap on the right side of the line. He's always been left side, and he's always been left tackle, and that's the one spot where we don't think we need. The Vikings do not necessarily need help right now. Let me ask you this: speaking of, we're talking about this offensive line. Last week, TJ Hockenson blocked twice as often as he had in the previous 3 weeks, in part because presumably the offensive line. Do you think he's going to be spending this game at the line of scrimmage trying to help handle Myles Garrett?
Well, he's not spending time catching balls out in pass routes. Why not just block? I mean, there was a moment, and I love TJ. I root for TJ. Vikings ended up, I think, kicking a field goal in this spot, but they're nearing the red zone. And in fairness, Carson kind of throws it against the grain of where TJ's going towards the boundary. We were traveling right to left on our TV screens, kegs and egg style. And TJ just straight up drops this freaking ball. And it's one of those things where, okay, how do you evaluate TJ's production when the kid QB can't get it to him because he's taken 6 sacks, and then Carson comes in, he's under siege against the Steelers. And so, and TJ kind of has been finding his way into the mix offensively a bit, but overall a complete non-factor. And it was good to see him blocking, and it was good to see him finding productivity there, because I've just been utterly disappointed with him as a pass catching option. And so in a game like this, the way we're talking with this MASH unit Minnesota Moving Company, I absolutely want to see him on the line blocking. I need Josh Oliver there too. And maybe there's, you're bringing in, you're going, maybe unbalanced with an extra fat body in there, another old lineman. You're doing something to keep Carson Wentz alive over the course of 60 minutes in this game,
I'm with you, and I wonder how much Hockenson will end up seeing versus Josh Oliver, and if this really just turns into a game where your tight ends they have to stay in line.
Yeah,
they've got to stay blocking, and I think that makes some sense. And even with that, I think the right answer here is quick first read passing from Carson Wentz.
Yep.
Let's not spend a lot of time hoping that this offensive line can keep it together against a very good defense. I think this is first read, second read out, 2.5 seconds max. Let's I'll take short stuff and just try to pick apart the Browns' second level and see what you can do with just get the ball into JJ's hands, get the ball to Addison. Let's see what happens, and if they can make a man miss and go make a big play. That's that to me is what I want to see from this passing game. It is just quick rhythm passing, and let's not risk Myles Garrett turning in some kind of Hall of Fame performance here, and we're sending a jersey off to Canton.
Well, yeah, let the athletes work. I will say this though, the reason that I still feel very confident, if you can be, I guess, in the Vikings winning this weekend, man. I love Flores against Dillon Gabriel. I mean, I've seen highlights of Gabriel in college and such, and I know they got that Judkins cat who's been very productive, not necessarily always explosive per se, but you like some of the statistics and the numbers you can read online. I love Flores against this group. Other than Jerry Jeudy, I know they got Harold Fannin Jr., your guy. Wasn't he a Bowling Green guy or something? Or Miami, Ohio,
That's
maybe?
Right. Yeah.
You loved Harold Fannin Jr., and so does Stefanski. They bring him all over the place. He's H-back. He's out and he's blocking online. He's off and running through the slot. Like, they got him doing everything. I just love Flores against this group.
Yeah, I do too. I'm not a huge Dillon Gabriel fan in terms of an NFL arm. He doesn't have a big arm. It's a lot of short, gentle passes. And what that'll do for Brian Flores is, in addition to, he's gonna put Dillon Gabriel's brain in a blender. In pre-snap, he's going to give him all kinds of bad reads, which is going to be great. I can't wait to see how that plays itself out. But also, because Dillon Gabriel doesn't have a big arm, I believe that means Brian Flores doesn't have to put as many defensive assets into deep balls and outside, near the sidelines, because Gabriel's not and should not be throwing deep outs. That's not what he can pull off. Those balls are going to float and turn into trouble. So knowing Dillon Gabriel is going to be trying to do first reads, avoid a good Viking pass rush, it's going to be a lot of dump off stuff. And I want to see Flores be able to take advantage of that. Let's get our defenders up within 5-6 yards of the line of scrimmage. Let's take away the easy stuff for Gabriel and make him have to go through progressions, force him to make reads. It's going to be a bad spot for Dillon Gabriel. Quinshon Judkins might touch the ball 30 times in this game.
Yeah, it doesn't that, and that's what it lends to be. I mean, I'm not in Vegas. You're right next door. I mean, maybe you jump down and you can place a wager on the underwhelming nature of this game. Like it feels like a 10-6 type of game, doesn't it?
36 is the over-under of this game. It's the lowest number the Vikings have been associated with in 20 years. And honestly, I don't know how these teams get to 36 without a defensive or special teams touchdown. Because I just don't see the offensive productivity coming here from either team. I mean, just everything, backup quarterbacks, great defenses. I don't know where the points would come from to even get you to a modest 36 points. And I don't have to go all the way to Vegas. I only have to go to Mesquite. I'm only about an hour and change from Mesquite, Nevada.
That's not bad. You're still loving Utah, right? No buyers or movers remorse. I mean, you're still digging it out there.
Well, I miss my friends. I miss the fried football feast. I miss you. It's I miss those things a lot. But Utah's kick ass. It's pretty awesome here, honestly.
Like you're gonna get off this and dial down, power down, and you're just going to walk out and you're just going to see majestic nature, right? I mean, that's what we're talking about here.
Yeah, pretty much. I still have to. I'm prepping Fantasy Football Weekly. That'll be my between now and when we record Fantasy Football Weekly, which of course you can hear on the Fan Saturday mornings or via the iHeartRadio app, Fantasy Football Weekly. So we'll be picking away at that, but I'll be up on the porch overlooking the mesas with Zion in the background, and it's all going to be very peaceful and warm, and it's going to be very nice. Thank you for asking.
No, that's amazing. Thanks for the time that you give me on Fridays. Thanks for the Thursday bits as well. Hopefully we're able to do this, whether it's next week. I don't know what the bye week schedule looks like, but whether it's Thursday.
Well, I do.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, well, I know this. I'm in all day Friday, so I will be hosting the Friday Football Feast next Friday.
Oh, that's sweet. So, I mean, it's going to be an absolute buffet of fantasy bits and football conversation.
Correct. Yep. We'll be talking about, I don't know what we'll be talking about. Hopefully a win. That would be helpful. We'll start looking at an increasingly difficult schedule, what we should be doing, coming out of the bye, what are the expectations for JJ McCarthy? We'll be looking at playoffs, playoff scenarios already, good and bad teams. There's tons of great stuff to talk about next Friday.
No, that's sweet. Looking forward to hearing that and looking forward to our chats when they occur. Have an awesome weekend, and we'll listen for Fantasy Football Weekly. You record it, and then we'll hear it tomorrow. That's going to be awesome.
That sounds great. Thanks, my friend. Talk to you later.
Yep, thank you. That's Paul Charchian, and at Paul Charchian via X, whether it's Fantasy Football Weekly, you heard it, during the bye week next week. He's going to be hosting the Friday Football Feast. Both PA and I will be elsewhere. And just hopefully when you're having those conversations a week from now, like you said, team's 3-2 into the bye, team has a chance to get healthier. What's up with JJ McCarthy? Looking for positive nuggets there as you turn the page to Eagles week following the bye. Final couple of segments next. It's Nordo in for PA 9 to noon. But first, Devin has a cash giveaway opportunity.
That's right, Nordo. The Fan and 2 Men in a Junk Truck want to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with our national cash contest. Enter keyword dollar at KFAN.com now for your shot at winning. That's keyword dollar. Enter it now at KFAN.com.
PA, a Friday feast of sorts, if you will. PA over in London, you heard him chatting with Mark Wilf, co-owner, president, Minnesota Vikings, wide receivers coach Keenan McCardell earlier. Also taking place earlier, head coach Kevin O'Connell addressing the media. Shorty segment, but let's listen to a bit of the head coach's presser from earlier today.
All right, good afternoon. Just finished up our Friday practice. Thought the folks here did a heck of a job with the surface, and we had a little moisture out there, but team got a full day of work, and it was some good work as we get ready to play the Cleveland Browns on Sunday. It's been a good week here so far, and hoping to wrap it up here, and just wanted to once again take the opportunity to thank everybody here at Hanbury and all the people with the league and absolutely our staff with the Vikings for the multi-week trip that they've put together for us. Just giving you an update on some game statuses. Donovan Jackson, Ryan Kelly, Michael Juergens, J.J. McCarthy, Brian O'Neill, and Andrew Van Ginkel will be ruled out. And then Tyler Batty, C.J. Ham, and Ben Urosic will be questionable for the game. All three of those guys were able to get some work, or really in Tyler and CJ's chance. They're healthy, and we'll see what it looks like for the 48 to get those guys up and going. And then Ben Urosic was able to get some limited work in today and is progressing and feeling pretty good. So we'll see how the group looks this weekend.
What's your confidence level, whether Brandon or whoever else?
Yeah, I got a lot of confidence, in the group that we're going to put out there, and they've had a good week, so they're ready to go. Yep, it's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We were out there, very similar structure to what we would normally have, and outside of practicing where we're living, it's been very much the same.
Okay, and I want to ask you about Sunday's opponent, Cleveland Browns. Of course, they gave you your first coaching job back in 2015. How much you contribute that, plus playing with Brady when you were a player, and since then working with Ray? How would you view your time with the Browns as something that's helped you as a coach nowadays, where you see by a lot of people as someone who has excellence working with quarterback?
Yeah, it's a unique part of my football journey. Specifically, my first coaching job. Really as a player, I had spent a lot of time with Mike Pettin when he was the defensive coordinator of the New York Jets, and I was still a player. Oddly enough, being told I should think about coaching even when I was a player, which isn't always the best thing to hear. And then Pet takes a chance and gives me an opportunity to coach the quarterbacks, and one of the quarterbacks in that room was Josh McCown, who's now my quarterback coach here and does a tremendous job. But I learned so much that year, learned basically that fast tracking of what you think you would be as a coach and how to coach a room and play a role on a staff and try to help a team as best you can. Even maybe with limited experience, you're always learning on the job and kind of learning that, trait of figured outness, which is unique and important to coaching. Obviously, the time around Tom Brady kind of started it all, and it wasn't just Tom. It was Coach Belichick, Josh McDaniels, a whole bunch of really, really unique special players on that team that really, everywhere I looked, there could be something to absorb and see that would help not only in the present of my football journey, but where I've ended up going with it in the coaching space. And then Sean McVay is, although I'm about 10 months older than him, he is one of my mentors and one of my very good friends that has taught me so much about, being yourself and being authentic as a head coach, and then trying to lead from a certain category that's, built around integrity and how you treat people and how you communicate with people, and just getting the most out of players and really all the relationships that you form when you get this job.
Justin Jefferson said last week in Dublin, the whole trip to Europe feels a little bit like summer camp.
Yeah.
What was your highlight so far?
Well, I'm probably the wrong guy to ask, just because I tend to be, pretty attached to where we're staying and what we have going on. But my highlight has just been seeing, the players when we were in Dublin. You see them when we got done the walkthrough on Saturday. You see guys go out and go around town and all of them coming back with souvenirs and things and kind of making the most of that trip. And then having been here, twice before, playing in Tottenham here twice in our first 3 years. This is our third time. Guys kind of know what to expect, but at the same time, they've really looked forward to the time together, whether it's you go in the meal room at night and, normally when we're back home, it can be a pretty scarce crowd in there of just coaches and some folks there. For dinner, we got, every chair taken and just the energy and the vibes in the room. Although we're coming off not winning a game, you wouldn't know it just by how these guys work, how they have kind of committed to bonding together. And I do view this in this day and age. We we have an unbelievable training camp set up at our home facility. Our fans are right there. We have a wonderful place to stay every night right across the street. So this is a little different. This does kind of feel like true camp in a lot of ways, but it happens to be in a critical point in the season as we head into our bye after this game.
Coach, after last season, everything went sort of swimmingly, really, record made through sort of the season. This year, it kind of seems to be one challenge after another. JJ going down,
yep,
over to Ireland, and then over here to London. How have the team kind of adjusted to what feels like constantly changing circumstances?
Yeah, I'm very fortunate to have some players that kind of look at things through a similar lens as I do, where adversity or challenges or obstacles are really just opportunities for growth from a team standpoint, where what can that mean to you when you're able to overcome that, some of those things and find a way to win a game. We were close to doing it in game. Last week we didn't do enough to get it done, and that would definitely be the case with our other loss this year as well, where we were playing quite a few guys in the offensive line and trying to find a path to victory. We didn't do it in either one of those games. We did in our other two, and now we get the fifth opportunity. But I'm a big believer if you're looking for obstacles and excuses, you're probably going to find them. So why would we take the time and energy to look? And let's just focus on what we need to focus on in the present. And I think things will work out for this team because of the type of players and coaches we have, and my confidence level in the group is as high as it's ever been.
What's stood out about the way Carson prepared this week and working with the centers?
Yeah, I think he's gotten enough time now. It all goes back to, that Thursday practice after JJ's, high ankle sprain, where he was able, or really when he had his baby, and then the week of prep. So he's really going on now his second complete full week of preparation going into a start, and just all those logged reps are starting to be where you can have some things to circle back on that's not just what you did in Philly or LA or Kansas City or Indy or any of the other spots he's been. It's now, I remember this rep from a couple Thursdays ago. I didn't see this right, and here's why. And then the dialogue with us to him of how can we make this fit your eye and fit your comfort level the absolute best way we can, and that's how we're going to do it. And we've got the type of players that can adjust and incorporate those things at the skill positions and along the offensive line that helps Carson hopefully just continue to be comfortable. First and foremost, it's not going to be comfortable for one snap playing against this defense on Sunday. We know that, one of the best in football. But at the same time, if the guys in the huddle do their jobs and we just get simple execution done at a high level, I think we're going to compete and have a chance against these guys. And that's the way they've prepared, and that's very much what I'm looking forward to see on Sunday.
That's head coach Kevin O'Connell with the media from earlier today. And you heard it, the laundry list of injuries is long, questionable, with C.J. Ham potentially making his way back. Still feels like he has a great chance to play. But the confidence, he's going to put it out there, whether it's what you need to say or how he truly feels, the ability to get reps in with the same offensive line group for the totality of the week and just find one way or another to keep Carson, as he said, comfortable. And by comfortable, I'm feeling like upright would certainly be one of the 8 topics for the coach in this offense into this weekend. We'll put a wrap on it. Final segment around the corner is next, 9 to noon. Final segment, 9 to noon, Nordo in for PA. What a fun week that it's been. Thank you for listening to 9 to noon. And just from the land of no air conditioning and awful Wi-Fi, just the trials and tribulations of connecting with PA and company overseas throughout the week, building up to a game that in some ways feels anticlimactic earlier. In some ways, am I being doom and gloom? In the trying to predict how this game's going to go, you focus on what you know is in front of you. For instance, I got a text message from Chris talking about, Kevin O'Connell. You hear it in that press conference, just what he can expect maybe from some second or third string offensive linemen and how that's going to relate to the game, how the coach needs to adjust. In the end, with everything that we've been talking about, harping on, lamenting in some ways, tough game, and sometimes you get Rodgers'd in terms of how Aaron was able to so efficiently pick us apart in Dublin last Sunday. What an opportunity in the end where on Monday morning we can be opening up happy times, back on our feet again type montage as a team that's 3-2 into the break. 3-2 into the bye week with a chance to get a bit healthier, with a chance to turn this thing around into, albeit the toughest part of the schedule. And the Eagles are going to be right there, right out of the gates waiting for us, right? Health of McCarthy, we're going to be curious about that. And, hopefully getting out of London alive with healthy bodies as well. But just what an awesome opportunity. Could it be ugly? I believe, this thing has to, joking about it, could be the worst game you've watched since that Vegas game a couple of years ago. Really, in particular, early, where you want to see Kevin O'Connell and this team assert themselves. And we've talked about it 100 times. Just, scoring first matters. Yes, being efficient earlier matters. Playing with the lead, the ability to establish the run, I get it. But just something, just rabbit out of hat, and the trust that I hope you have in the head coach to find an answer where we are not chasing the Browns on Sunday. And the opportunity that's in front of this team, ragtag offensive line as it is, can Dallas Turner step up in an opportunity again without Van Ginkel? All of that is in front of us right now, but the ability to go into the bye week, you should beat the Browns. That's how bad this thing is. That's why the rookie mid-rounder is starting. They're offensively impotent at times and as defensively strong as they have been, this is a team that they should beat. Sunday afternoon, London time, Sunday morning, here local time, and I think that's how we need to focus on this. Vikings are going to win this game. Ugly, pretty, whatever it is. Can't wait to watch it. Thanks for hanging out with us all week, 9 to noon. The program, or the 10 of Fitzgerald, I should say, is taking you by storm next. Have a great afternoon, great weekend. It's The Fan. Bye-bye.
Podcast today's Paul Allen Show, or listen back to previous show and interviews by going to the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.